It's all about feeling. Feeling is energy, and you being in touch with how you really feel. Because most of the time we feel confused, which is the worst feeling. But being in touch with how you feel and allowing these feelings to settle, whether you feel angry or you feel happy or you feel pain, and understanding what kind of pain. Because a lot of people associate the feeling of pain with a bad feeling. But for me, it's not a bad feeling. We're not taught, like you're taught to feel happy or to feel sad, but pain is also a feeling. It's actually an emotion.
Hello and welcome. Today I'm here with Tamara. Tamara is chiropractor and partial owner or co-owner of Disc Dubai.
Yep.
Thank you very much for coming and making the time.
Oh, my pleasure.
In your crazy schedule.
I love talking about what we do in life, and it's always good to have new conversations with people.
Cool. So that's what we're going to do. First of all, I would just like to ask about you mostly.
Okay.
How you got into chiropractic. Why you started to do it. You are originally from...
Well, I was born here.
Okay.
My parents have been here for over 50 years. So for me, this is home.
Over 50 years?
Yeah, they came in the 80s, early 80s. I was born here and raised here most of my life in Abu Dhabi. It's funny, when you come here, you kind of don't feel like you belong in one place. You belong everywhere to the world because it's such a multicultural place to grow up. My dad is originally from Iraq. My mom is Palestinian. She was born and raised in Lebanon. So they met here and they got married here, and we were born here, and we grew up between here and the south of Spain and Canada. We immigrated to Canada also when I was 9.
Oh,
so
wow.
I lived in a lot of places. But then I eventually ended up coming here after I finished my doctorate, which was in San Francisco. That was the last of my living abroad journey. And I came back 10 years ago now.
So you're like freshly back.
Freshly back,
kind
yeah. 10 years is fresh. So, so I moved from Abu Dhabi to Dubai because I saw this as more of where I wanted to start the practice. And then, it's been home since.
So you studied in San Francisco?
I studied in Canada. First. For my undergrad. I also lived there and did high school there for a few years. And then I did my undergrad in Toronto. And then I moved to... I needed to get out of the cold. It was too cold for me. Although now I dream of the cold, but back then I really, it was tough. Big change from being here, and especially being on my own. Because when I lived in Canada, I was younger. I had my family. But being alone, 16, I went to undergrad, and it was just a big city, big change. It was, you learn a lot about yourself, obviously, when you live alone and you come from the comforts of this world into being very independent. Even things like doing my own laundry, it was hard.
New, right?
Yeah. Living in dorms. I mean, I lived in a room with another student who we became really good friends, but we lived on bunk beds in a really small room, which is like smaller than the size of my bedroom growing up. So it was a big change. There was rats. I'll never forget that. There was mice everywhere. It's dorm life in Canada, and there's heaters. Mice love the heaters. So
where exactly was it?
This is in Toronto. It's one of the best schools, called University of Toronto. So I chose it for the university. I learned more about life than I learned about school. So it was a pre-med degree, and then I finished, and I was just like, take me somewhere warm. And I didn't even do that much research into the schools. I just knew Palmer College was one of the best schools of chiropractic, because the founder of chiropractic is Palmer, D.D. Palmer. Yeah. So there was 3 Palmer schools, Florida, Iowa, and San Jose. And I picked California, and I was so lucky I did. It was almost like everything, my stars are aligned, and everything happened for a great reason.
Why did you go for the...
Chiropractic?
No, before the medical undergrad.
You have to. It's part of our education.
Also, you
have to do it for
you want to do the chiro?
I knew I wanted to be a chiropractor since I was like 16. I played around with different things. I also wanted to be an obstetrician, like a gynecologist. I loved the idea of bringing human life into the world, fascinated me. But I also thought a lot about work-life balance. I always loved life growing up. I loved sports. I loved to be active. And I knew I have family in medicine, and I knew that it's very hard being in medicine, especially in the hospital environment. Or being on call 24/7. So this is something I always advise younger people. They're like, I want to be this. I'm like, I know you have these dreams of being something, but you need to think reason. Like, I was always a reasonable person, and I always knew, as much as I love my career, I love life also, and I need a work-life balance.
We were talking right before we started recording about your...
Yeah.
you just go. That's the balance?
Yeah, that's balance, really, because the balance is, for me, my balance, like, I know that you have to find balance in stillness, but I find balance in movement and in exploring, in creation. I mean, a lot of people tell me, like, you're in Dubai, how do you keep busy? It's in the middle of summer. I am so busy. And not only busy working, busy exploring. I went to, new museum. Anytime there's something new open, I love to explore and indulge. And because you're not going to know what you like in life and what your preferences are if you don't try. And I learned that about myself in fitness. Like, you evolve as a person, and if you're always doing the same thing, I feel like your body and your mind doesn't grow. You grow outside your comfort zone. And so I really love to go. I definitely slow down. I take a lot of time for myself, but I love the fast-paced life. We're young.
Yeah, sure.
You gotta live.
And push.
And push, of course.
What you said the university you chose?
Yes.
Was D.D. Palmer University?
Yeah, Palmer West, yeah.
Yeah. So how does it, what is the difference between that and another chiropractic?
Well, it was very known for its sports medicine focus in chiropractic. So that's something that for me was very interesting. I know when you towards the end of your graduation, you're placed in what we call a clinic. In our college, it was very well known to be working with a lot of sports clubs. They had a very good reputation, and the Bay Area is very well known for baseball, American football, like things that were very new for me. But a lot of graduates had been placed with some of the best clinics in the region. So I thought, wow, like this is definitely, and people ask me, why did you want to be a chiropractor? Honestly, I met a chiropractor. She still practices in Abu Dhabi, Dr. Reem. And she was almost like, this is the best thing. She was in college then when we were speaking about it. And she's like, it's an amazing profession. And she started to explain to me how the profession, it's manual medicine. So, it's based on touch. It's based on human connection, which is something I love. And she's like, you can really make an impact in people's lives just using your hands, You can remove people's pain, not via medication. And growing up, I always used to, I had an uncle who practiced rheumatology, and he always used to tell me the hardest thing is working with sick people. Work with healthy people and make them healthier. And this is a profession where I could do that. I wasn't working
It's like this kind of partly preventive, right?
100%.
When you don't let them go too far.
100%. This is why what we do is technically considered preventative or alternative medicine. And it shouldn't be alternative. It should be real medicine. This is not alternative. And we see even in mainstream medicine nowadays, they're trying to shift, other than, of course, the profitability of pharmaceutical industry. We're not going to talk about that. That's a whole nother conversation I'll never leave. But, medicine is great. We're so lucky to have it, but it shouldn't be our first option always. And that's what I loved about chiropractic. It talks about the innate ability of the body to heal itself. And when people come to me, they're like, oh my God, you changed my life. You made me better. And I said, I didn't make you better. I just pushed you in the right direction. You make you better. You just have to open up your eyes. And it's like everything. They always tell you, trust your gut. Your gut knows everything. When people come and tell me I have this pain, the first question I ask them is, why do you have it? Why do you have it? Like, I don't know what I see you for 45 minutes, How do I know all the different factors in your lifestyle that made you who you are today and why you're here? I don't know. You tell me why you're here and why you have this pain, and we'll work on finding a solution.
People usually know, right?
Of course people know. It's just we're so clouded by our environment and stress and being busy. But you know why you got an injury. What did you do where you felt? It's all about feeling, and you're deep inside, why you are where you are and why you're injured and why you have what you feel. And it's about me helping you emotionally, physically, and all these different ways to remove that pain.
When you said the gut feeling, I know that there was a study done about impact of the vagus nerve on our decision making and our awareness.
Amazing.
So they showed people 6 cards, like normal, like playing cards, whatever, blackjack, whatever. And they told them, it was 6 cards, 3 at the top, 3 at the bottom, and they were showing them random assignments. Some of them were covered down, some of them were covered up, whatever. And they were supposed to find out of pattern, right and wrong. So they showed them and they told them, this is wrong. And they showed them and this is right. And then show them again. And after a couple of tries, they were supposed to guess, is this the right or is this the wrong? And it was basically measured how long it takes you to figure out the pattern. Yeah. And the pattern was very simple. Pattern was that regardless of color or whether it's a heart or, that when the bottom ones are face up and top ones are face down. That's the correct pattern.
Okay.
People cognitively, on average, were able to figure it out by 20 to 22 attempts.
Wow.
But they were measuring activity of their vagus nerve that is connected to the gut. Yeah. And the gut knew at repetition 10 to 12.
Wow.
And they were getting different signaling if they were about to press right or wrong,
Yeah.
And the vagus nerve knew way better how faster. So
they say your gut is your second brain, right? So
3 brains, right?
3 brains, yeah. And definitely nowadays we see a lot of people with IBS or a lot of stomach issues, or young people too, especially. They come to me always with IBS, or I'm bloated, or I'm this, or I feel pain in my stomach. And we know that it's very highly associated to stress. And other things that, overthinking, not having the right or healthy environment. But it's very hard to convince people, no, it's something with my stomach, I'm allergic or intolerant to. I'm like, it's not really intolerant. We won't talk about this, but yeah, it's, again, back to psychology, you know. It's
you overall, like chiropractors, at least from these couple chiropractors I met, like you are always thinking a little bit out of the box,
you have
right?
to.
You're looking at it way differently than
just system as a whole. You know, somebody comes to me with back pain. Okay, fine. Maybe you have back pain from sitting too much, but you're sitting too much just because of work. But you also have a life outside your 8 hours of office. Why aren't you moving? It's stress. So you have to look at the system as a whole. You have to look at someone's sleep patterns, at their feeding patterns, at their movement patterns, as the way they think about life. Like, it tells you so much about a person. So, I mean, not all chiropractors are the same, but I work in an amazing environment with so many different medical professionals that have taught me so much about what I do. And for me, I say I love rehab. I don't do a lot of rehab, but I've learned that through my own personal physical journey, through movement, through training. And I only started training properly when I was 21. So growing up here was amazing environment, very strong focus on education for girls, not really so strong in terms of fitness, completely different now.
Okay.
30-something years later, so different than when I was growing up. It was still very novel. But I found a lot of us found fitness a bit later when we grew up here, and fitness changed my life because it taught me about myself.
And so when you started, you were 21, you said?
Yeah, I went to grad school. I was in San Francisco. And, when I was in undergrad, I wasn't in a good place. I was mentally so stressed, and I blamed it on the cold, but my routine was terrible. I was just studying, pulling all-nighters, not exercising enough. There was no routine. And as humans, we love routine. Our body likes homeostasis.
We thrive on routine.
It's good to change things outside, but that routine of your sleep habits, your eating habits, is something that's really, really important for you. These are the basic fundamentals of feeling good. Especially, I fight with people all the time about sleep. I'm a night owl. I said, you're not a night owl. You work with the sun. We have something called the circadian rhythm. You train yourself to be a night owl. Maybe it works best for you when things are really quiet. That's why you're a night owl, but your body doesn't function well. It's been proven scientifically. Your digestion slows down. Everything slows down. So
you just reminded me exactly when I had this conversation with Timea's dad.
Yeah.
Because we were just talking, I think he was traveling, or we were traveling, something about jet lag. And, generally the kind of, not really, I don't know if it's proven scientifically, but the rule is that when you have every hour of a time difference will take you 1 day to adapt to. Okay. So if you go 16 hours flight, it will take you 16 days to shift it. Okay. And he heard that we are talking about it, and he's like, no, I don't think so. Like I adapted so quickly when I went to US and back. And then he stopped, and he himself, he was like, yeah, but like I messed up already because he is a musician, and he's always late nights, weekends completely shattered, sleeping in a van, and so much stuff going on all the time. So you don't feel it now because you already adapted to the wrong routine or messed up routine that is not even regular.
100%. I always say, God bless the people who work on planes and, cabin crew and pilots who are like working all night and coming home and trying to sleep in daylight. Like, it's so hard. I can barely even nap, if I'm really tired. It's so hard for me because I'm very strict on my routine. I do like to go out late on weekends, but my body's like 5:30 a.m. Boom, wake up, so I don't
also, regardless of when
my sleep. So now I'm like, that's it. I'm done. Like I'm old enough to know that no matter how late I go out, like I try to go home by max 1 because I know that I'm going to get up early no matter what.
And what kind of, when you say you have a strict routine,
yeah,
what is your night routine for before going to bed, for example?
Oh, it's not that kind of routine. I wish I had a good night routine, which is like I sometimes, and I know like last night I was watching a really intense show and there was murder and this, and I was like, oh my God, I know I'm not going to sleep because I know my brain is overstimulated. Yep. So now I really try, even if I do that, to read, even if it's 3 pages of a book, because my brain activity just completely changes. I try to have the red light on my phone because no matter what, I can't control, like I do browse through social media to my emails, or you need to feel important in some way. So I do that.
You have the filter, yeah?
I have the filter, red light filter. I have the glasses. I don't really wear them, but I put the red light filter on. It's really annoying. So like 5 minutes in and I'm done. So
it's just the fact that you have to look through that filter.
100%. Quietness, dark room. There's little things that I do. I take my magnesium at least 15 minutes before I know I want to sleep. So I'm programming myself, okay, you need to go to sleep. It's really important for me because I train in the morning, and I'm very strict about training in the morning. I will never train after work, or I don't have the time during the day. I hate it. And the evening, I'm just too busy with people all day. And after work, if I want to do something, it's more like I'll walk or I'll do something like sports, not really high intensity or lifting. I function best in the morning. So I get up, I have my coffee. I know you should have water first, but I love my coffee. So I have my coffee and I'm literally straight out the door. And I love to train in the morning. I perform really, really well. And it's just like a detox for my mind.
And you go empty stomach?
Empty stomach always, yeah. Empty stomach. Shot of espresso, always. A little bit of oat milk. My water in hand, electrolytes. And I'm either running or now in summer, a lot more weight training or yoga, but always empty stomach.
And so the training is varied, yeah? It's not one thing.
I mean, when I'm training for a marathon, I run a lot. So that happens once or twice
That's
a year.
That's good, right?
Yeah, once a year now only. So yeah, from, I'd say October till about April, I really high running focus. Twice a week, strength training, and then yoga, or I'll vary with other things, paddle, cycling, whatever it is. But yeah, it's varied, but it's always in the morning. It's always in the morning. It's always anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending.
And when you train for marathon,
yeah,
do you only run or you combine it as well? You just increase the volume?
I definitely always combine, but definitely increasing the volume of running. I've taken down, like I love to lift heavy. I love it. But when I'm training for marathons, I noticed my last marathon, I did so well. I PB'd. And it was mainly because I really took down the high intensity stuff and the CrossFit. And I did it more like I did slow controlled weightlifting. I realized like I don't need to die every time I train. So I learned that the hard way through injuries and getting a lot of plantar fasciitis. And
so more like a powerlifting style? Or?
Yeah, powerlifting, slow, controlled, resting, enjoying the company of my friends when we train, being able to have a conversation, not lifting to the point where I'm destroyed or I'm sore. That took me years also to get over, because training for me, I love to get out the energy. Like I used to be like, if you're not dead, it's not a session, I used to say, it's not a waste of an outfit if I'm not sweating and dying. And now as I'm getting older and now I'm injury free for the first time in my life, I realized, we shouldn't die if I want to be consistent with my training. And especially like we have full-time jobs. We maybe don't sleep enough all the time. We're not recovering adequately. So I need to make sure my training is optimal, so I'm training smart.
I always try to explain to people exactly this because I learned it the hard way.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so but it's really hard, right? Because only people who really went too far usually can get it.
100%,
yeah, like
100%.
If you can do 100, do 90.
Yeah,
you're not going to miss that one set.
100%,
that's not the point.
100%.
But if you do 105, already, I'm looking at it always from the nervous system perspective.
100%.
You just shatter it too much, and especially let's say you, right? Like you might not know what stressors will be there through the day, and you can't control that much, right?
Exactly.
So you rather keep a little bit of buffer, because what if the extreme stress through the day will accumulate so much
100%.
that you would wish you would just back up on the training before.
100%.
Right?
And as a woman, I mean, we struggle a lot with body image. I'm sure men do too, but it's very hard in our society with social media. And I always struggled with body image. You're too bulky, you're too this, you're too that. And I hear it a lot because my patients come in, I love them. They always compliment me. But, they'll say straight up, you gained weight, you lost weight. And I'm like, don't comment on my weight. I don't comment on your weight. I say you look beautiful, or just because it's you're sensitive about it.
I hate it because I was always more ectomorph. Let's say, like I was always skinnier regardless of what I did. Because I was, and this is exactly that.
I mean, our metabolisms as men and women also are so different.
Yeah. But to gain might be even harder than to lose.
Yeah.
You know, if you really want to go that direction. I always had compliments from people like, "Oh, you're so skinny." I was like, "Shut up."
That's you, 100%. I'm trying to bulk.
Yeah, exactly. That's exact same thing like coming to somebody, "Oh, you're so nice and fat." You know,
even now when people lose a lot of weight, I'll try to compliment them differently. I'll say, you look great and you're looking really fit.
You look healthy.
You look really healthy. Like you look rested. Or I'll never use the weight gain, weight loss because our society puts so much stress in this. And honestly, it's a fashion. Like if you look at trends over the years, skinny was a fashion. Big butt was a fashion. Big boobs was a fashion. No boobs. You can't keep up with these
Also
things.
Depends what circles you are
100%.
in. Because you look at the, let's say, more endurance running community,
100%.
Skinny, abs, all that.
100%.
You look at CrossFitters, it's big butt.
Yeah, girl, you're looking thick, and if you said that to runners, you're like, whoa.
Yeah, strong shoulders,
Yeah, definitely depends on your community and your environment. But
I actually, now I realized that I commented on one friend a couple of days ago, and I told her like she's looking very thin. And I meant it as a compliment, but now I realized that she probably didn't take it well.
I mean, you could say lean, you're looking very lean.
Yeah, I think I used that, but I saw maybe on her that that wasn't really a good hit, so I realized.
And we're so affected by that. But going back to the training, and the reason I talk about this is I learned, I met an amazing nutritionist, Lisa. She was introduced to me by a friend 2 or 3 years ago. I never cared about what I ate. Like I always trained so hard and I ate whatever I wanted.
Okay.
But as you get older, your body's like, well, you can't really eat whatever you want anymore, because I run a lot. So everyone says, but you run, you can eat anything. And you really can't as a person. It's easy in our environment to overeat. We're very lucky to live where we live and we're really privileged. We have everything on a click of a finger. So food is really, really important and nutrition is really important. And I learned, but more than anything, it's going back to cortisol levels and overtraining. I learned that the less I train, the less I craved. Again, not the less I trained, but overtrained. The less I overtrained, the less I craved. And the better my body looked and felt. Because I used to crave sugar all the time. I still do sometimes. And I know when I crave sugar,
so you were more happy with yourself and with your body image when you trained less?
When I did less. Nice. When I just did less than running around. Because I used to need the training. It was like a hit of heroin. I need it. And you shouldn't have to depend on anything in life.
You do cold plunge, right?
I love cold plunge, yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I'm bad nowadays. I don't have the stamina for it, but I do love cold plunge.
Okay, you can come someday.
I heard.
Yeah, you heard? Okay.
I heard. I'm actually going to talk to you about another amazing device. We'll talk off air because this is a whole nother conversation.
Of who?
A friend who's developing his own a really cool tub where it's temperature controlled on your balcony, small thing. Really bless him for developing this thing. It's affordable and it's UV filtered. So it cleans itself. You can keep the water in for 2 months. And you can control the temperature from 18 slowly down to 4. Because a lot of people are scared of this idea of cold plunge. So you start at 18 and you slowly adapt. And then you go down to 6 or 15 and then 12 and then 8 and then down to 4.
Oh, that's
But I do love it so much. It really
you
helps.
Use it?
I tried his, yes.
Okay,
I loved it. I used to go a lot for cold plunge. Ice bath I've only done once or twice. Twice, actually. I don't do it enough as I should. I tell people about, it's not just for recovery. It just makes me sleep better, number one.
Well, this is why I started with it.
So well.
Because not only sleep, but there is some comparison that if you will get a cocaine, you will get certain amount of dopamine and endorphins for 2 to 4 hours.
Okay.
With this, it's up to 12 hours.
Oh, wow.
Same amount.
Yeah.
Same amount as doing cocaine.
I know what I'm going to do before I party.
Yeah.
Cold plunge and we're going out. Yeah. And honestly, in this environment, I think it's really important because we live in a hot country. Even though we're in AC, you feel like, I run outside. Most of us, people want heat. They get so accustomed to heat. Even patients, they leave me, I put a hot pack, I put ice. Put ice because ice vasoconstricts. Sometimes you need that. There's too much blood in an area. You need to create that pumping effect. So put ice because most of the time you're warm, you're hot.
Yeah.
So it's really, really important. And more for your mental state. For me, I do everything to control mental strength.
Exactly. Well, I started with the ice, not for the physical benefit.
Yeah.
I just started it because, just go to a discomfort and everything else is easy, right?
100%.
Like if you can sustain a couple of minutes in the literally being covered to the neck in the ice, then, there's not that many things that will affect you super strongly,
100%.
right? So, for me, it's 90% the mental side of it.
And you're doing it 2-3 times a week?
No, once a week.
Once a week.
Once a week.
Yeah.
It's just for the convenience.
Yeah,
like we have Sundays for that.
Okay.
We always order ice. We have always somebody. It just somehow happened. Somehow happened that always somebody will come.
Amazing,
like
amazing.
Friend there. We not really we're not doing it for business or anything.
No, I know.
We do it for ourselves, and because the ice is already here, we're just giving. Opportunity to other people to try it as well.
It's fantastic.
So you are invited for sure.
Thank you. I definitely would love to come. And I want to bring some of my friends because they're so uncomfortable being in cold.
Mikey
she came
did it
last week. She loved it.
Yeah.
And just taking you outside your comfort zone and learning how to control your mind. I think it's really, really important that more of us were so comfortable in our environment. So it's really good to shock the system in a way and realize how capable you are as a human and how easy it is to adapt. By controlling your breath.
Regain the control. And we always start, it's not like just come and throw you into the ice, right? We always start with a full breathing session. Yeah. Tima is doing that. Tima is leading it. She's explaining everything. And it also brings you out from the everything 100%. What you bought into that spot. And then you are way likely to do it successfully. 100%. We didn't have anybody who would jump and run or anything. There were struggles and it took some time to calm down, but everybody was able to do it. Everybody can. But you need to prime yourself as well. And that breathing that's amazing.
Amazing.
Just a completely random question because that's
I know
how my brain's
this
going.
This is me, by the way. This is you sitting. This is anybody who's like, wow, you just talk about 100 things at the same time. Yeah. This is the speed I work on, and I love it. You're on my level. So
it's just starting 100% and
next thing we talk about partying. We're talking about ice. I was like, no, wait, don't talk about the partying. Let's come back to
when do you do some nose only training?
What, sorry?
Nose only? Like you breathe only through your nose. Nasal breathing only.
Yoga helps me so much with that. So I do yoga religiously. It's something but definitely it's inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. But it is mainly nasal breathing. And I've learned a lot to use nasal breathing through yoga. It's very hard when you're running fast to only nose breathe. I've tried a lot of techniques like holding water in my mouth while I run.
Thai boxers do that.
It is so difficult. I can barely maintain it for a minute or two unless I'm running really slow. And running really slow I don't like it. But yes.
But this is the exact point of it, that if anybody, for example, now I started to coach one guy who went out of coma.
Wow.
He was 18 days in coma.
Wow.
It's like a whole crazy story. His lungs collapsed.
Oh, wow.
And they had to induce him into the coma. When he came to hospital and they put him, they tested him, he had 70% oxygenation of the blood.
Wow.
Under 95, they putting you on the oxygen. Wow. He was at 70 and they luckily found him at home, basically collapsed. He can't half remember it.
Wow.
Anyway, nose breathing is amazing tool to whatever the case is. It regulates the intensity so well. So you saying that you can't go too fast, that's the exact point of the nose breathing. It will keep you on the intensity you can afford comfortably, and then you can start pushing and you will increase efficiency. You will be way better. Just the pure nose breathing is increasing NO, nitric oxide effect in the blood. So vasodilatation, better circulation, and eventually you will learn how to go faster and faster and faster. Now I'm trying to do assault bike, 15 minutes every evening.
Just
nose breathing.
Oh my God.
And I'm just looking at the data.
Wow.
And I don't look as I go. Yeah. I just look after. So how much was it? How much calories was it? What the heart rate said on the Whoop, and I always analyze it, and it really is matching my kind of ability to push that day.
Wow.
If I was very stressed or very busy, or I had already one hard training, it will reflect that.
Yeah.
If I had more chilled day and everything was going well, I will get 20 calories more. but the feeling the same.
Yeah.
So like it's an amazing tool. I use it with this guy because his heart is affected. He's on medication still because they're just bringing him. They will tell him that he will not walk in 6 months, and he walked stairs 4 days after that.
Wow.
Yeah. So like
very mentally strong.
I have to give him the mentally completely different level. That I need to give him the nose because he would go crazy.
Yeah.
Like he would just go way too much.
Yeah,
so now I can regulate it through it.
Amazing. Really interesting. It's interesting. I was reading how our jaws have evolved over the years because we've become so much more mouth breathers.
Yep.
And our jaw changed also because of the different kinds of foods we eat, because we're eating a lot
It's
more.
not hard enough.
Not hard enough, yeah. And I find that really interesting also how we're starting to evolve and adapt, maybe not always in the best way. And in our job, for me, at least as a chiropractor, I'd say 60% of the pain I see is neck and shoulder. And it comes from stress and from wrong breathing techniques, apical breathing.
Yes.
Like this, fight or flight, constant fight or flight, shallow breathing from the mouth. Not
Up
able,
to the chest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So not really being able to engage your diaphragm, engage your full lungs when you're breathing, because people are breathing too fast and too shallow. And you can see it when you're taking their pulse. And
I started to notice, I watch videos of fails in fitness, not because I enjoy people failing.
it's pretty funny.
Yes, that's true. But I mean, like,
Yeah.
not only fails, but like solid injuries, bicep torn.
Oh.
Hey, like I can watch open heart surgery online, all the videos and like blood, and that does nothing to me. But when I'm watching somebody doing bench and I know the pec is going to tear, it's like I was like, just on my toes, like, oh my God, I don't want to see that. But I start to notice when you look at these videos, and then also I remember when I had injuries, it always happened when I wasn't breathing right.
Yeah. 100%.
And it always happens there when they are, obviously they are straining it too much,
100%,
but they like hold the breath or
too much tension in the muscle.
And they can't manage it. And that's why I really believe that it's not like you train and breathe through it, but you should base the training volume and intensity based on how much you can breathe through it.
100%.
Like the breathing should be the guide for training, not the other way around.
So it's funny you say that. When I started running, and I realized like now we have our watches and we're always looking at our pace on our watch. But my coach is amazing. Sometimes she tells me run without a watch, so you know your pace. So when I'm running in a marathon, I don't want to be looking at my watch all the time. I want to know I'm holding a steady pace, and that comes with learning how to control my breathing. And I know when I'm too fast because I start to breathe harder, and I learn to come back to that breath. And I mean, always in yoga and anything, they always tell you, like, come back to your breath. If you feel like you're pushing too much, come back so you can sustain. And that's in endurance sports, one of the most important things. Otherwise, you burn out so quickly. So the breath is so, so important.
Yeah, and like, you just pay attention to your 100%. Body, right? Like what is going on, and you kind of can reflect it from like a little bit of like a third person oversight.
100%. And if we're going back, to the conversation initially about no, let's talk about the parting offline, okay? No, but about your body's innate ability, your gut instinct to know everything. Like if you can control your breath, if you can control your environment, if you can control your sleep, like how much healthier could you be? This is the true definition of health, and this is what we try to educate people. I'm learning every day from my patients, from people that I meet, and it's so interesting. But we really know deep down inside what makes us function at our optimum level. It's just we're so clouded by stress and our environment and, our phones and the internet and all these things, which can be great tools in some way, but we're so clouded by this busyness and this expectation to perform all the time that we don't listen to our true gut instinct about what it really takes to feel good and healthy, and simple things like breath work, sleeping better, eating better, working on your cravings, working on finding that balance, that homeostasis where you feel amazing all the time. Something that we can all do. Yeah. So simple.
Funny that you said that, because great pass again. Yeah. They took, there was kind of an experiment done, and they took pro rowers.
Okay.
Yeah. And they put them on the rowing machines. And they did, I believe it was 2K. Okay. So like that's their competition distance. I think that's the longest they do on the machines. Okay. Yeah, 2K. And like it's like 6 minutes, six and a half, like the best times. It's fucking crazy. Like, it's like, well, you know, the pace is insane. Is like yeah, exactly. Like that's pretty much right. And they gave them two scenarios. Okay. One scenario was that they were looking at the display, and they told them keep this pace. I don't know what the pace was. For our sake, let's say it was 145. Okay, keep 145 pace for 2 kilometers. They were going. Then rest, whatever. Another experiment. They covered the display and told them keep the pace. And they are great at pacing, so they can do it.
Of course.
And now they looked at their heart rate through the both experiments.
Okay.
Compared to how they were changing the pace on the rower. So when they were very steady with the pace on the rower, so they were guided by the display, by, you know, the AI data, their heart rate was all over the place.
Stress.
Yeah. They were all over. Yeah. So sometimes to keep it, they had to go, they had to spike in the heart rate, then it go down, whatever. When they took the data of the go by feel, their heart rate was almost flat, steady.
Amazing.
But their speed wasn't averaged. The speed was changing. The average was still 145, but sometimes they went 150, sometimes they went 140, whatever. Yeah. But at the end, the outcome was the same, but they were way more steady and connected with their body when they went by feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, what do you want to do? Do you want to base your training on the data from the display or on your body?
Yeah. And oh my God, we can talk about feeling that's another podcast about feeling. And it's really interesting. I work with an awareness coach. It's an interesting feminine and masculine energy. I'm very interested in energy. Life is all energy. And I've studied a lot in the last 2 years, or tried to educate myself about different kinds of energy and energy transference. And it's a whole nother conversation. It goes into everything from religion to pain management to everything. But it's incredible when you go back to energy, it's all about feeling. Feeling is energy, and you being in touch with how you really feel. Because most of the time we feel confused, which is the worst feeling. But being in touch with how you feel and allowing these feelings to settle, whether you feel angry or you feel happy or you feel pain, and understanding what kind of pain. Because a lot of people associate the feeling of pain with a bad feeling. But for me, it's not a bad feeling. We're not taught, like you're taught to feel happy or to feel sad, but pain is also a feeling. It's actually an emotion. Because like if I do this to you and you feel pain, okay, there's no longer that, but you now associate this with pain.
Yeah.
So it's a feeling and it's emotion. And learning how to process this emotion is really, really important in health overall. And why I'm talking about this is because when people are like, I'm in pain, they start, oh, that's it, their life is over. And on the contrary, pain is something that should teach you, it's propel you to change.
It's information.
It's information. And learning to control that feeling. Like we're talking about, these guys are controlling this feeling on the rower. Learning to control this information, this pain, can propel you to living your best life ever. Because you know that you don't want to feel this feeling. It's not a nice feeling, you know? Pain is not a nice feeling.
This is exactly what we do in the ice bath. And I always, before people go there, I tell them, like, you will feel pain or discomfort.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's a fine line, right? Especially in the training,
of
right?
Course,
and then people are confused about it.
Yeah.
Like, what is too far? Is it? Am I sore or am I hurt? Right? But the pain itself has two components. Mm-hmm. The information that is like, okay, there is something unpleasant thrown at you, and then there is the emotion.
The emotion, yeah.
And the whole ice bath is about separating these two.
Amazing.
Because eventually when you breathe through it, you're sitting there, you breathe through it, you there, and you're like, okay, I know it's very cold, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah. And also how are you processing
you accept the information, but you disregard the emotion. Yeah. The emotion will be there at the beginning, and that's why after 2 minutes, the mental part for most people is already done.
Yeah.
Because if you're sitting there after 2 minutes, it probably means you already overcame this and you were able to separate these two.
100%.
But if I've seen just this video of, a friend of mine sent it to me, a video of this I believe she was CrossFitter, and she went to the cold plunge after the workout, and she just she went in, she was, panic breathing through the mouth, not controlling shit, and shaking, looking at the clock, if it's 1 minute already, and then went out. I was like, that was more hurtful for you than if you don't do it.
100%.
Yeah, because it's not about being there. It's about accepting being there, being okay with it, and then you can walk out of it. So you're not running away from it, but you're like, okay, I learned. It gave me the experience. Now I can go.
100%. And different people have different ways of processing pain. And you're right. It's what you're going to do with this information.
Yep.
Like, are you going to sit with it and say, okay, I can control this, and this is an environment I can control? Or do I need to propel change, which is what people come to me with pain in their body. I said, look, this pain is a great thing because it's teaching you that you need to do something different in your life. It's a message. It's signal from the universe, that's telling you, and your body telling you like, right, we need to do something different. And if you're going to keep ignoring it and ignoring it, you're just going to deteriorate. And as humans, we're on this earth to evolve. We're here to evolve.
That's why the painkillers are so bad.
100%.
Right?
100%.
Because it's covering the message.
100%.
It's like you're killing the messenger.
100%. And I definitely take my fair share of painkillers. Don't get me wrong. I
really?
do. Yeah, I mean, I get really bad cramps, and we can talk about this a whole nother time. Really bad cramps, and it's obviously stress related. I've tried everything. I work out. I take my magnesium. I eat a lot of chocolate. But yeah, that's probably what I should cut out. But
and is it like a period related?
Horrible. Like I can't move, and I can't function. It ruins my training. Although I have to say, I ran Copenhagen Marathon on the first day. Usually, normally I can't move, and I PB'd. And that just proved, like, I went 2 days early, I slept, I was happy, I was not stressed, everything. I even had a few glasses of champagne the day before. And normally, like, it's everything no. And it was amazing. During the race, I was talking to myself. I was in such a good place. I was happy. I just felt so grateful and blessed. And I shifted that energy. I shifted, and I remember like I was freaking out because I trained so hard for this race, and I went on Google that morning and I said, running race under period. And the first thing that came up was Paula Radcliffe. Like she won, she was the fastest marathon time ever. And she broke the world record on her period. And that was like, for me, I was like, if she can do it, I can do it. Like, what the hell? Why? And I remember I looked at my watch at the beginning of the race and I said, I want to see 3:30 when this is done. I want to see that number. Like I kept seeing that number. No matter what happened, I kept talking whenever I'd have that like a low, which barely ever happened. But I kept saying like, I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky to be here. I'm so grateful. Like, wow, who gets this experience? I'm 36. I'm one of the best shapes of my life. I'm happy. Life is good. Work is great. My family is amazing. I have so much love in my life. I was running with a really good friend. He was so happy. We're looking at each other and we're just in bliss, and just shifting that energy. And I did not feel an ounce of pain. Nothing. People go to marathon. I've hit walls left, right, and center in marathons. I've been through a lot of pain in racing and in training, and mentally just not wanting to be there and feeling like defeated. And I didn't feel a second of that by just switching my breathing, my environment. Like I trained for this. I'm here, and it's amazing how But yes, I do take the painkillers, so they're there for a reason, But definitely trying to work on your environment, trying to control as much as you can so that health comes from within, and the healing and learning to turn off that pain comes from within. Because I don't normally have the time. Like a lot of my doctors would tell me like, sit with the pain, meditate it out. I'm like, I don't have time. I gotta go. Like I have 6 a.m. training. Just give me the pills.
It's very nice what you said, that the health should come from within.
It is. Yeah. Health is from within. And I know I have a problem that I need to focus on to get rid of these cramps, because I've been through phases where I'm on holiday or something and I don't feel that, but I've been through other phases where it's just so bad, it's debilitating, and I'm like, I know I need to change something in my life. I'm too tired. I'm not sleeping X, Y, and Z, but it's my control, right? Yeah. I choose my environment, so I choose to be fast paced and whatnot. So I'm gonna have to suffer the consequences. But
you do it.
Yeah,
you do it. Like you choose.
I mindfully, I make that mindful decision to choose how I live my life, and we all have that power to do these things.
With the bad and with the good.
100%, 100%. And when we go back to talking about medicine, like mainstream medicine is amazing. It's there for a reason. It saved hundreds and countless of lives. But it kills me when I see people who are in a bad place. Like I know people going through really bad things like chemo and still refusing to change their diet, to change their sleep, to change their environment, to change the toxicity of the friends they hang out with, for example. Like, there's so much within your control as a human being, and in this day and age where we really live in abundance and we live in really great environments. We're not living like we were living 100 years ago where we didn't have electricity, and we have everything.
I really, really like the distinguishing between acute medicine and chronic medicine.
100%.
Because the acute, I think we fine-tuned very, very well.
Yeah.
From saving babies,
100%,
the
100%.
mortality rate, and also the ability to, save limbs or whatever.
100%.
Or after accidents. However, what I see as a challenge for the medicine is that they have to realize that they can't treat acutely chronic diseases.
100%.
So it's not like if somebody is coming to you with diabetes that you just give them pills.
Yeah. It kills me. Here, like, I know so many people on things like glucophage or insulin controlling medication, and it's so sad because there's simple changes in these people's life. Not everybody. I mean, yes, you have types of diabetes that happen to people that it's necessary, and
but
thank
God.
God.
The ones that are actually lifestyle
we have
induced.
the medicine. The ones that are lifestyle induced kills me, because you can do simple things like changing your diet, exercising regularly. It's so environmental, and it kills me when you see that, because definitely destroying people's lives, and they have so many other consequences and side effects to these medications. And I see people who would suffer side effects to medications and still, I argue with my mom about this all the time, and she had breast cancer 6 years ago. She's great. She's in remission. She's a much stronger and better person nowadays because of her experience. Not everybody's that lucky. But till now, the doctors have her on hormone controlling medications. And I just question. I'm never the one to tell her, you need to stop this, because this is my mom, and I'll do anything to make sure that she's in the best state and health ever. But you don't question what the doctor gives you. Why? Like, they told you 5 years. Why now 10 years? Have you checked your hormone levels? If your hormone levels are balanced, why are you still on estrogen controlling medication? Like, doesn't make any sense to me. And you're still experiencing the strong side effects, which are body aches, bone pain, all of these things, weight gain, bad lymphatic drainage. It's so bad. So not everybody has a chance, but question it. Question it. There's so much research out there. There's so much knowledge out there. Is there no alternative?
There's no only one way, right?
There's only one way. Can you get off it and then just do hormone tests every 3 months to see if your hormone levels are stable? So those are things that I just love to question.
You said magnesium a couple of times already.
Yeah.
Why? Why are you taking magnesium?
We're really deficient in our diet in magnesium. Magnesium is quite hard to get naturally in your diet. You get it in dark chocolate, which I love. I eat a lot of chocolate. I am happy to be sponsored by that, but it also gets leached out of your body quickly. So dark chocolate, lots of green leafy vegetables, bone marrow, like certain substances that have magnesium. It's very hard to keep in your body. I'm obviously very interested in musculoskeletal health. I'm all about living in performance. It's my job. It's everything I breathe and live by. So magnesium is really important for MSK health. It helps you relax. It helps relax the muscles. There's different kinds of magnesium that you can take, different compounds of magnesium. I take a really good one with 5-HTP that also helps me sleep. It's just, I find it great for recovery, great for soreness, great for performance. So.
Do you know about the mechanism of why is it relaxing us?
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that?
I can't explain it exactly with your sodium potassium channels into cells, but yeah. You want to explain?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I want you to explain.
No, go. You explain.
No, I don't know.
Oh, you don't know? Okay. So it's.
I have some idea, but I would like you to.
It's all cellular control. It's all cellular control. So your cells have, you have sodium, potassium, you have certain minerals, and your body needs magnesium for cellular function, basically. So that's the easy way to. I can't explain to you exactly the ion exchange.
Yeah, it's a lot of like this chemistry, math.
Exactly.
And,
I was horrible in chemistry, but it's for your muscle regeneration, repair, and cellular control. It's just like hydration, by the way. I tell a lot of people like, I drink 2.5 liters of water. I said, yeah, but if you don't have electrolytes or proper
to keep it in your
body, then no matter what you drink, it's just going to come out. And a lot of the water we drink is bottled and it's processed water. It's not natural water that has enough electrolytes in it.
Plus plastics.
Exactly. So for me, doing like when I run, I take salt tablets, a fancy way. Like I'd rather spend money on delicious tasting salt tablets, or you can squeeze a little bit of lemon and Himalayan, like sea salt in your water to actually prevent dehydration. Just drinking regular water, my fingers still swell up. It completely changes the second I add salts, because that helps regulate your salt. So people believe that salt is really bad for you. It's actually not bad for you at all.
Oh my God, this is like...
But processed salt is bad for you.
Yeah, but
processed
also, you know, the myth of salt bad for your heart.
Bad for your blood pressure.
Yeah. But that's... I mean, look.
It is a myth. It is a myth. But the problem is...
It is valid for, let's say, or at least from what I know, it is valid for, you know, if somebody is over 70, 75 and already had a heart attack.
Yes.
And their heart is very weak.
Yes.
Adding salt will basically, super simply put, increase volume of your blood, because the sodium will bond more water into your
cells.
So instead of 5, you will have 5.2 liters of the blood, let's say. Yeah, for the heart as a pump, that can be a challenge.
Yeah.
But anybody healthy and young who is training, they are putting heart under so much more strain just by training and making the heart stronger, that this difference doesn't really matter. And as you said, like for the balance of potassium in the cell, sodium outside of the cell, all yon balanced
100%.
in the, you just need it. I don't use salt as much. I like using sodium bicarbonate with lemon.
Okay, very good.
It's a very weird taste, but it's very good for digestion as well.
My mom is obsessed with it every day. Every day. I don't like
it's good for cleaning as well.
It's amazing for cleaning. Amazing for mouth ulcers. So when you have mouth ulcers because of the acidity, you're supposed to use sodium bicarbonate. So great for so many things.
We were even doing with Timea toothpaste.
Yeah.
You just have a coconut oil with sodium bicarbonate. Just make this like little mashy thing with it. That's it.
My favorite way to use it actually is for deodorant. It's fantastic with coconut oil, and then you can add essential oils, harden it up, and then use it for deodorant. It's really good, better than any deodorant ever. And we'll talk deodorant's another thing with so many carcinogenic
and absorption through the skin.
Exactly. So it's something you use every day. But the natural, I don't have the energy or prioritize making it, but the natural deodorants with sodium bicarbonate have worked better for me than any deodorant. So good for you. But salts are very important, because if you don't have cellular sodium, then water will not get absorbed into your cells and you'll just pass it. So for young, healthy people, yes, it is really important that you get a good sodium. Again, not the processed salt and the bad salts. There are good salts and the processed salts. So just like sugars. Food. Just like sugars, exactly. Like eating natural sugars, again, much better for you than eating.
I was just reading a couple of days ago, like, very clean advice. If this food wasn't around before 1900s, don't eat it.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Because it's not food.
And I mean, it is a balance in everything, you know. We have evolved to be able to process a lot more things. You know, we have amazing things in our environment. Everything in life is a balance. Well, I eat chocolate almost every day. I try to get the best quality dark chocolate, but here and there I do love my milk stuffed with something, you know, and it's fine. It's a fine line and fine balance. But in the back of my head, I'm always thinking diabetes. You have to be careful, you know. So I'd rather eat like fresh dates or make date paste and really delicious things with natural things than going to that route. So it's really important to always just make the better choice. That's it.
Yeah, and also depends how you're looking at it, right? Because if you eating that chocolate and in back of your head, it's like, oh my God, this will kill me.
Yeah.
That's not going to be good for you.
I mean, I think that every time. Like, this is going to kill me.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
100%.
like if you making that choice, then just be okay with making the
100%,
choice.
Yeah. And for me, it's a mood balance. Like I feel like I need it at the middle of my day when I'm feeling under low energy. I have a small piece of chocolate and I feel great. You know, and now I make a better choice. Like instead of having chocolate, I'll have my chocolate protein shake. It just gives me the same effect, and at least I'm getting my protein in. So I know how to. I always make the lesser evil choice. You know, that's how I work. So,
so kind of also 80-20 rule.
Basically,
like, 80% of the time on track.
Yeah, it's important to have balance in life. You know, I don't believe, like, I talk about my routine and how important it is. I love to go out. I love late nights. I enjoy experiencing life as it is. Life is there to be loved and experienced. We all have our own ways of that. You know, some people love the discipline. I love to experience everything. But yes, and 80% of my life needs to be where I can feel great. You know, and then that 20%, no matter what you do, you're always able to bounce back.
Do you know Jocko Willink?
No.
Okay, he's like he's a leadership author, ex Navy SEAL, and like pretty smart guy. And his quote, I believe, I don't want to mess it up now, but it's discipline creates freedom.
Okay.
You know, and
that's true.
That's what I'm trying to live by, because it, like, I feel that's right for me. Like I feel very aligned with that thought that for me, not going out or not partying and having the discipline that I'm at the bed by 10 or 9:30, and then I rather wake up early and work on my stuff, and you know, like that's what when I feel good, and that discipline gives me freedom to do anything I want.
100%. 100%. I agree with you 100%. And it's funny, I've gotten it a lot from people. You work out too much, or you work too much. I'm like, how do you know what I do in my time? You have no idea. Like, just because I'm at work for 10 hours, it doesn't mean I work too much. I have the chance to be able to read, to connect with people, to learn from people. I learn more than from my colleagues than I learn from any book or from anything. I mean, you've had a lot of them on this podcast. Imagine being able to sit with them all day and just talk about things in life. Like, I can learn so much more from people. I learn from my patients. I ask them questions, and the amount of education and knowledge and experiences that they give me, I will never get from anything else in life. You know,
like smart, open-minded people, they can learn from anything that is put in front of them. It can be a cartoon,
100%.
You know, or it can be like watching a cartoon with a kid. It can be absolutely anything. But if you will find an analogy or, you know, some,
100%.
I always refer to so many stuff, to books, to movies, and because it's just like somewhere back in my head, it's just all connected.
100%. You know, as long as you're a bit more socially selective, because there's definitely a lot of too much information out there.
Of course.
You never know what's right and wrong.
That's the biggest problem these days, right? Just to filtrate what 100%. Is right and wrong. I've seen this meme, and I was laughing so hard for half of the day, that, you know, like in past, we thought that lack of information is why people are so dumb.
Yeah, but now we're over.
And now we know that's not that with the 100%. Internet. You know?
Nothing's changed. Nothing has changed.
Yeah,
the contrary.
that wasn't it.
It's one of the hardest things nowadays for us, because how I have this FOMO all the time, because there's too many books and too many resources, and there's so many different opinions. But I think what you learn as you grow up, I mean, just looking at world politics now, it just makes me think, wow, what is right and what is wrong? Everyone has their idea of what's right and what's wrong, and it's this Game of Thrones. And I mean, we don't talk about world politics, but really
I haven't seen the Games of Thrones. So, yeah.
Okay,
I'm one of
you
those.
have to. You have no. You cannot end your life without watching this documentary, like the series. I mean, I was like that. I refused, and then in lockdown we had time, so I watched it literally back to back. It's one of the greatest shows ever created. So
I believe that, and the only thing that I'm afraid of, that, you know, I will start, and then for 3 weeks I won't do anything else.
It'll take you about 10 days. It's okay. It's worth it.
Okay, but I have to like live in between.
No, you don't. You just need to eat. Eat, sleep. No, even sleep.
So if once again I will travel and I will be stuck in a quarantine for whatever reason.
It's worth Yeah, but it's a crazy world, and there's so much information out there. But again, if you just listen to your gut and you know what's right and wrong, and you know, it makes me really sad when you see people following the masses. You know, even look at diets. There's always a trend. You know, keto was in, and paleo was in, and this was in, and fruit, you know, fruitarian and vegan, and go with what works for you. You know, I have patients that come to me and they're on whatever, a carnivore, and they're asking me, what do you think? Have you read and have? I'm like, I haven't, but I work what works for me. I know what works for me, and if this works for you, great.
I sometimes feel that people picking up very strong diet, it's because like they want to belong
100%
to a certain group. I mean, I have at least to say I was 3 years like super strict keto, not a single cheat day or anything. But then I mean, I'm still fairly low carb.
Yeah.
I just have my carbs around the training.
Okay.
So I use it as a fuel directly for the training, and that's it. But I'm not restricted as I was on the keto. I'm still around 100 grams max a day.
Oof. Yeah.
But it comes so naturally, because going out of keto, this is so much, you know, compared to before. I just wanted to try it that time, and it was working very well until it wasn't. So then I switched.
Anything restrictive is going to work well, right? Because we overindulge anyways. Yep. We overconsume, and it's hard to believe that, but we do overconsume. If you see how some people are living in the world with so little and they're alive and surviving. So I think it's learning that you restrict. There are definitely some diets that work for certain people. People have really bad real intolerances. People have had surgeries. People, there are some diets that definitely work better for some people, but you're right about belonging.
Yeah, like many people, and I don't want to pick on anybody now, but a lot of vegans are like when you talk to them, and they are, it's almost like religion for them. Like
it's an identity.
Yeah, like
it's an identity.
Exactly. They create such a strong bond with that idea.
Yeah.
It's like ideology they are so stuck with, and then when they feel guilty, when they have something what had some kind of animal, touching it, even might not be necessarily meat or something, but Well,
guilt is a foundational emotion for so many things. This feeling of guilt is definitely something that a lot of us need to remove in our life. Where we can't get over something, we want to be like, it's all based out of guilt. How we feel, how we function, and it's a really, really negative emotion. And it's something that we need to unlearn for our environment. And if you love animals and you want to take it, I 100% support that. It's just about not imposing it on our environment and not saying I'm right and you're wrong, because there's no right and wrong. We're all so different. There are some people that live a certain way and that's their way and it works for them and that's great. But as long as it's not imposed on me and my values and how I want to live, then...
And if it's only about suffering, not suffering, we now know that even herbs can feel.
100%.
So I mean, they just can't express it, right? So they have chemicals that are like a kind of feeling, inducing a feeling reaction in them. So I mean, trees,
just eat air.
I heard about this case, and I've seen a video of a guy. It was a guy in US, and I think you would be interested in this. I will try to find it for you. And this guy, he was pulling some tree root off the ground. I don't know if it was for fun or whatever. And as he pulled, it like folded him. Everything, he was like in a fetal position. He couldn't stand up straight, nothing. Nobody wanted to work with him. And the video starts with him going to Australia from US because there was just one doctor, chiropractor, who was like, I want to help you. And it took so much of adjustment, releasing and so on. But then the theory was that it happened because a tree that he was trying to pull the roots from, it released some chemicals.
Oh, wow.
Similar to like, not like, but like kind of like an endorphin, like it's just very subtle particles. And that caused him this insane neural reaction because it was a self-protection of the tree.
Yeah.
And that guy was in so much pain. It took weeks and weeks until he could just walk straight.
He should have just tried psychedelics. That would have helped him connect a lot more.
Maybe.
Most people, if you read the research on psychedelics, and now there's a lot of places in Amsterdam, and I'm not promoting psychedelics here, but you see that a lot of the power of, look at all the adaptogens and neurotrophins that come from mushroom that you have now in your coffee, and we have things like great companies like Stigmatic that have done a lot of research based on opening the mind and releasing certain endorphins when you consume mushroom related products, but it actually helps you connect to nature. And if you see most people who do or try psychedelics, it's always about being in a natural nature environment and connecting to nature, because Mother Earth is where we come from and where we end up at the end of the day. So this connection to nature is something that we definitely need to respect. And that's why I think even living here, like we are lucky, there's a lot of green places, and nature is our desert. And when we're able to go in winter to the desert and to see and immerse ourselves, it still gives us this emotional and endorphin release. But we don't get enough of that because we don't have access to grass and trees and being able to really ground ourselves. And that's another aspect of health that is really, really important. Being able to ground and being able to connect with the earth and nature, our creative forces in life, which is really important.
It's most of the time, that's also where the greatest inspiration is coming from, right?
100%.
For artists, Everybody will
for
just...
everyone.
Yeah.
For feeling better. Like, how much better do you feel when you're out in nature, or you go for a walk in the woods, or you're in the park? You always feel better because you're much more present.
Yeah.
You're not distracted by your phone or your environment. You're distracted by the earth and the trees and the beauty of the environment around you. So that's something I find that's really, really important. And that's why when it's winter here, I'm always in the mountains. I hike. I try to go to the desert. I love the sea. I absolutely love the water.
Go to the beach, yeah?
I'm always in the beach. I kite surf. I learned to kite surf in COVID. I'm obsessed with it as a sport. It's just so free. You know, you can be in the water for 2-3 hours, looking at the sun, thinking of nothing but, you know, trying to control basically, and just letting go. You know, you're so present in the moment. You can't think about anything else with like a lot of sports. Yeah. I still run in summer. I still go out at least for an hour.
Do you do rock climbing?
I don't. It's the next thing I'm working on. I did for a while. I just love my nails so much that it was bad. I used to, when I first moved here, I used to go deep water soloing in Oman. I've tried a lot. I just stopped. But I'm getting back into it slowly. It's just, you know, these indoor walls here don't do it for me as much.
Yeah, so. Because that's the one activity that you can really get into the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you need to be present. You're not really thinking about anything else, just where the next grab is, right? Yeah. Tamara, thank you so much.
It was a pleasure. It was really, really a pleasure talking to you. It feels like hanging out with a friend, you know? We
barely scratched the surface.
Oh, yeah, we did.
So next Friday, maybe?
Yeah, anytime. I'm coming for the cold plunge, so we can talk more.
Yeah. We will somehow put it together.
Definitely.
So the next time we'll see Tamara, she'll be talking from the cold plunge.
From the cold plunge, with the chattering teeth. So.
Chattering's not allowed.
Yeah.
That's too far. You need to get out.
I always end up chattering, and then because I like suffering, I'm always like, no, I want to stay another 2 minutes. And they're like, get out, your internal core temperature is too low. So
if you start to shatter, the only thing you need to focus on is that when you exhaling, you want to prolong the exhale for as long as you can.
Interesting.
And through the closed lips.
Okay.
Because there are parasympathetic receptors in the lips.
Okay.
That's why food, kissing, so on feels so good. Because and through the air, pushing it, it's like super softly blowing a candle. Okay. And
you just gave me a great idea. Instead of eating chocolate, I'm going to start rubbing it on my lips.
Well,
cool. I might control the diet.
Show me pictures. Yeah. But I mean...
Oh, wow. Okay, great.
I'm not sure if there are taste buds in the lips, but you'll probably feel something anyway.
Taste buds are on your tongue. Yeah, amazing. Great.
Yeah.
Well, we'll try it. We'll try it next week.
We'll teach you.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.